Hello and welcome. It is the Green Squire back with some more tips and tricks, and once again, let's jump into it. The first trick I have is Reclaim. Reclaim is very important, as you all know from my other videos, and one easy way to get it is to do an attack move from a factory. And this is different than just sending engineers to the front line and telling them to do it once they're there, because let me show you the bonus range an engineer gets from the factory. So let me go ahead and click on this factory, and I'm going to hold the Alt button. And as you can see, my mouse cursor just changed to the attack move icon. Like if I click on a unit with weapons, among all of these orders is the attack move. So once again, click factory, give it a waypoint around some reclaim, like in this case there's a bunch of downed interceptors as well as some rocks and stuff, and gonna hold Alt and right click. Now if I hold shift, you can see the waypoint is red instead of the usual blue because we held Alt. And now I'm going to build an engineer and let us wait for him to arrive. Okay, looks like he's there. And if we look at it, his regular radius, this is what he can normally reclaim if we send him out normally. But since we did this attack move from the factory, he gets kind of a bonus. And I'm not sure if this is originally a bug or why this kind of works, but it's been around for so long that it's pretty much just an accepted part of the game. Generally, you might want to do this from sort of a peripheral factory, maybe on the edges or something and not your main one, but it gets the job done. One thing to note is that engineers will only reclaim if you are not overflowing on mass. So if I pause these guys and put all my mass extractors back to work and let my mass bar fill up, and now I try to send my engineer to scoop up some more of this reclaim over here, he should just walk right by it. And it can be frustrating not knowing why if you're first starting, but check your mass bar and make sure you're not overflowing. And if you are overflowing, try to build something, because again, you never want to overflow on mass. And there he goes, walking right by this nice juicy reclaim. And by the way, the reason he does this is actually a good thing, because you don't want to scoop up this mass while you don't have any room, because otherwise it will just disappear and you can't put it into your economy. The next tip also has to do with reclaim, but not in the typical sense. So if you see my engineers just dropped off and the enemy also has engineers here, what do you do? Do you build a land factory? Do you build point defense? Well, why don't you try reclaiming? You can actually reclaim enemy units, and in a pinch, this will get the job done. It doesn't work as well if they're moving, but if they're stationary like this, it will kind of work. This also works against tanks and such, but tanks are a little bit harder to reclaim because they will auto attack. But if your opponent has some engineers just kind of sitting around and they're not paying attention, you can reclaim them, or you can even capture the engineer. And this is sneaky. I don't think I can do it because these guys are running away, but if you manage to capture an opponent's engineer, you'll unlock their tech level. So maybe if you're playing a Seraphim like I am and you capture an opponent's, say, Cybran engineer, you could do some stealth plays that the opponent will not see coming, all because you captured one of their engineers. Next up is how to edit and delete waypoints. So say I didn't want all my air superiority fighters to just go over here and sit on the ground like sitting ducks. Say I wanted them to fly around here on the front lines from right after they're produced. Well, that is very easy. All I do is give them a patrol command and then hold shift and give them another patrol command, say over here or something. But what is going on here? It looks like they're going over here, they're flying over here, and I just want them to patrol the front lines, but they're trying to come back to base. So how do we get rid of this? Very easy. Shift and control and right click. So that's how you delete waypoints. Control, Shift, right click. And say if the front line is moving, like maybe I capture this island and I want them to patrol from here to there, I hold Shift and drag it with my left mouse button. So those are the two waypoints that are very important. To move one, you hold Shift and left click drag, and to delete one, I hold Control, Shift, and right click. The next tip I have for you is back at the base, and it has to do with energy production. Energy production is very important because if you stall on energy, among other things, your mass extractors will also operate at significantly less efficiency. And this isn't even talking about things like your shields losing power, so you really never want to get behind on your energy production. One easy way to stay ahead of this if you're new is to just select a few engineers and just tell them to make a line of power in the early game. This will work and it will save you some overhead. However, I never really liked this method because frankly, it looks kind of ugly when you have a bunch of power generators in a line like this. Let's be real. So something else you can do is kind of what I have here. Is you can make a template of power generators surrounding a factory, and you can either surround an existing factory or you can put one down for use of another factory later. However, once you get a lot better, you might want to stray away from doing shortcuts like this because however much resources you put into making superfluous power is resources that is not going into making an army. So once you get a feel for how much power you need to support yourself, you kind of want to stray away from doing either these lines or these templates. But if you're just starting, it is a great way to save some overhead for things that need more attention, like battles. And if you were wondering how I either 1, made this template, or 2, cycled through the templates, well, you're in luck because this tip is all about templates. So first up, making the template is fairly easy, but you're going to want to do this in your own private game before an actual match starts. So go into a custom game. There doesn't even have to be any enemies or anything, it can just be you. And then you're just going to want to build what you want to build from a template. Let's go ahead and build something like a T2 artillery right here. Let's start him working on that, and then let us surround it with T1 power generators because artillery fires faster when it's surrounded by energy producing units. And in this case, T2 artillery is very small, so surrounding it by T1 power generators is all we need to give it a pretty decent fire rate upgrade. So now with my artillery built and power generators around it, I'm going to click this, hold Shift, and select the rest of it, and I'm going to push this, save template. And now if I go into the templates icon right here to the right of all the tech levels and stuff, you can see this. Kind of hard to see what this is because I'm playing a Seraphim, but this is indeed the artillery thing that we just made. And another thing to note is that it will build in the order that you place it in. So he will first build this artillery thing, and once he finishes that, he will build the power generators in this exact order. Just something to keep in mind. And now for how to cycle through our templates, which incidentally, here is the artillery one we just made. It's in the menu down here. We're going to want to go into the Hotkeys menu or the key bindings menu. And it's actually going to be under this alternative hot building menu. You can see right here, build templates and factory templates. I have it set up as Shift T because I'm pretty sure that the T button is tactical missile defense, as you can see right here. For Tech 2, tactical missile defense, and then Tech 3 would be strategic missile defense. But if I press Shift T, as you just saw in the Hotkeys menu, we can cycle through our templates like so. And the last tip I have for you guys today is a bit situational, but can come in very handy when needed. And that actually has to do with shields. And if you try to upgrade a shield and pause it right before it finishes, you can continue the upgrade, and right when it upgrades, the shields will replenish. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I have my shield almost fully upgraded, but not quite, and it's just a Tech 2 right now, upgrading to Tech 3, and let me go ahead and spawn in some enemy light artillery, maybe 10 or so should do, and let me just go ahead and put them right around here to try to have them target the shield generator. And as you can see, it's going down pretty steadily. I'm going to try to wait until it's nearly dead. And this barrage should deplete the shield. So I'm going to unpause it, and hopefully if I did this right, this will finish before the next barrage. Ooh, that was just in time, probably a tad late. But you get the idea. You might want to do it a little bit earlier than that, but essentially, if you're under artillery attack or something like this, it will come in very handy. Let me utilize the spread attack shown off in my last video, and yeah, that could have been done a little bit better, but you get the idea about shield upgrading. RIP. But yeah, guys, as I look in the smoldering wreck of what used to be the shield example and my power grid, I think I'm going to end the video there. Really hope you guys enjoyed. This will probably be the last video that is kind of more generic, that applies to every faction, and I still have a bunch more tips and tricks that are all kind of more specific to each faction, so stay tuned for that to come. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.